Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Elliot Webber, and in today's video it's not an announcement video. It is in fact sort of a discussion about a potential upcoming announcement, and that is who will replace Dan Rowbottom at Team Dynamics for 2023. So let's get straight into this. Yes guys, that is right. Today we are going to be discussing who will replace Dan Rowbottom at Team Dynamics this year. Of course, if you haven't seen already, it was announced a few weeks ago that Dan Rowbottom would be joining Sam Osborne, Dan Kamish and Ash Sutton at NAPA Racing in their new 4-car lineup, which was an extremely shocking move. I think a lot of people actually did predict Dan Rowbottom to either stay at Team Dynamics or go to a different team. I don't think anyone was expecting him to go to NAPA, especially because it was predicted that NAPA would have 2 cars and Motorbase would run the other 2 cars. Of course, we know Motorbase is that whole NAPA entity, but of course, sponsorship, blah, blah, blah. They're of course known as NAPA Racing, as they have been for the past 12 months. So, whilst, of course, everyone was happy to see Dan Rowbottom in what could potentially be a title-winning car, it left the question open, who's going to replace him? Who is going to go to Team Dynamics? There have already been a few candidates, and I will talk about those said candidates in a minute. But one thing I would like to say, because I don't think anyone has, I don't think a lot of people have seen it so far, and that is Ash Hand will not be on the grid for 2023, confirming on his Instagram last week that he will not be racing in the BTCC this year. He will instead be working behind the scenes with PowerMax Racing, probably some coaching and maybe some engineering type stuff. But yeah, unfortunately for Ash, who had a brilliant rookie year last year, his long-awaited debut, you could say, unfortunately he will not be on the grid for 2023. But Ash, if you are watching this, I really hope we can see you back on the grid in 2024. So that's one candidate who a lot of people did think maybe Ash Hand could be set for a Halfords or Team Dynamics move. Unfortunately, that is not happening. But let's talk about a few of the candidates. First off, I'm going to start with probably the most unlikely one, and that is Jason Plato to Team Dynamics. Is JP going to move to the team of his his long-time rival? Will he join Gordon Shedden and Matt Neal at Team Dynamics, assuming that Gordon Shedden is going to be back? I'm going to assume he is, because I don't really see him going anywhere else. So is Jason Plato going to move to Team Dynamics? Unfortunately, no, I do not see it happening at all. I think Jason Plato will stay retired, which is unfortunate. Of course, he was 3 away from the 100 wins, but sadly, I do not see JP staying in BTCC this year. Unfortunate, but I do think it's the right move. So getting that one straight away, just clearing that one up. The next one, sort of swinging into things, is Matt Neal. Could Matt Neal return to BTCC for one last hurrah? Could he finally say, okay, I've been out for 3 years, why don't I just come back for one more year for my swan song? Of course, JP had his swan song last year in a Honda. Could Matt Neal come back for one more year? And again, sadly, I do not think so. I don't see Matt Neal returning. I think he has now embedded himself into that team principal role. Of course, let's not forget he also runs Team Dynamics outside of the BTCC race team. Of course, I do think he runs that entire company now that his dad's retired. So yeah, again, unfortunately, as a Matt Neal fan or as a Team Dynamics fan, I do not see Matt Neal coming back, as much as I would like to see it. However, we're in a world where we have to sort of think about the future, and I think I don't think Matt Neal can push that team back to where Team Dynamics should be. So yeah, unfortunate, but I think that is how it is. So no JP return and no Matt Neal return. However, there is one Neal who we very well could see this year, and that is Matt Neal's eldest son, Henry. Yep, that is right. Henry Neal has been a name that's been thrown about now. Of course, Henry Neal, we've known him for a long time. He's grew up in the paddock with his dad, of course. raced in the Mini Challenge a long time ago before the Minis were on the TOCA package, and most well known, he sort of became well known after driving his dad's FK2 Civic in the Touring Car Trophy, then of course now known as TCR UK, winning that 2 years on the bounce in 2019 and 2020, so a two-time TCT champion in his dad's car. And that was when a lot of people were like, surely Henry should be in the main BTCC series by now. And that's something that I agree with. I really want Henry Neal to get a seat. I think Henry has been someone who can carry on not only carry on his dad's legacy, but also create his own. I think Henry Neal is just as good as Matt, in my personal opinion, from what I've seen from Henry. Also depends whether he wants to race. I do know that he has been working on the engineering side of things with Team Dynamics for Matt Neal. So whether he wants to return to racing, who knows? Only he does. But personally, I would love to see Henry Neal. I'd love to see Henry get his long-awaited BTCC debut, you could say. I'll get into my predictions right at the end. I'm just listing off the candidates for now. So, could Henry Neal get that seat? I think so. I think there might be someone out there, especially Matt. I think if Matt Neal, obviously, I think we do know that Matt Neal is the one making the decisions on who races for Team Dynamics. If I was Matt Neal, I would 100% think about, I would at least consider putting Henry Neal in that Honda squad. I think he is someone who 100% already has race wins in him. I can definitely see him winning races. Whether he can win championships or not, that's yet to be seen. We, of course, need to see Henry in the BTCC to decide if he is a BTCC champion. But 100% I can see him winning races, and definitely I'd love to see Henry Neal be in the BTCC, in his dad's team, in that Honda. So, Matt, if you're watching, make that happen. Another name that's been thrown around as well is Michael Creese. I put out a post on the Facebook BTCC fans group on Facebook, and there were a few people saying that maybe Michael Creese could go to Honda. Now, unfortunately, as much as I love Michael Creese, I do not see him coming back to BTCC this year. He did state last week that he is still seatsless at the minute. He is still looking for a seat, but he is in talks with a few teams, not just in BTCC. He's also looking at potentially moving into TCR UK, and he's also looking at a potential British GT campaign. So Michael Creese is one that's very up in the air. We don't know where he is going to go. But for Creasy, will he move to Team Dynamics? If he does come back to BTCC, I don't think so, unfortunately. I think maybe a return to One Motorsport could be more realistic, depending on what's happening with Jade Edwards over at that team. But yeah, Michael Creese to Team Dynamics, I don't see that happening. If he does get a seat, honestly, I can see it being in TCR UK. But yeah, I wish the best for Michael Creese, and I really hope we do see him back on the BTCC grid, because of course he is a fan favourite, and he has actually improved as a driver. I think 2020 and last year 2022 were two of his best seasons in BTCC. So 100% I'd love to see Creasy back, and I wish Creasy all the best. Hopefully he can find the money to return. And then another candidate that has been thrown about is a Jack Goff BTCC return. Jack Goff, of course, as we know, we did not see Jack race in 2022. Unfortunately, budget and sponsors unfortunately meant he had to pull out at the very last minute. Massively unfortunate for Jack Goff, because Jack is someone who most likely probably should have been a champion by now. He 100% has what it takes to win a championship. There have been some rumours that Jack is going to Toyota. There have been some rumours over the winter that a potential Toyota appearance is there for Jack. Some rumours may speculate he may be going elsewhere, but honestly, who knows at this point. Can I see Jack Goff at Team Dynamics? Honestly, yes, I can. Jack already has experience in a Team Dynamics built Honda from his days at Eurotech Racing, so he knows how to drive a Honda, and he's won races in said Honda in 2017 and 2018. So yeah, I could see Jack Goff in that Honda. I'm a Jack Goff fan, so I'd like to see Jack at my favourite team. Whether or not it will happen, again, I do not know. Jack Goff has not confirmed his plans for 2023 yet, so Again, who knows? It could be BTCC, it could be TCR. Potentially, there have been some rumours that he's been testing a TCR car. I don't know how true that is. I'm not an insider at all. But yeah, I'd love to see Jack Goff at Team Dynamics. Do I think it will happen? Sadly, no. I do not see Jack Goff at Team Dynamics. Once again, I see him somewhere else, potentially at One Motorsport, maybe elsewhere. Again, who knows? And then finally, the last candidate, and this one has been circling around a little bit as it potentially being maybe not a done deal, but apparently this is the most likely one to happen out of the candidates, and that is George Gamble could potentially be on his way to Team Dynamics. Now, as a Team Dynamics fan, as I keep saying, if you don't know already, and as someone who I rated so highly in George Gamble, I think George Gamble 1000% last year had one of the best rookie seasons of all time, definitely in the last 10 years. I think the only two drivers that had a better rookie season than him was Ash Sutton and Dan Camish. They are the only two other drivers that spring to mind as having a rookie season as good as George Gamble's last year. George Gamble, let's not forget, P6 in his first qualifying session, a podium in his second ever race, and then a win later on in the season. His first ever win, currently his only win. And of course, with Sicily Motorsport pulling out, George Gamble is 100%, without a seat. At the minute, I think 1000% there will be some people vying for his signature, vying for his privilege, his driving services, let's say. As a Team Dynamics fan and as a George Gamble fan, I actually met George Gamble at Silverstone last year. Incredibly nice guy. George, if you're watching this, hi. Thanks for signing the program I had. George Gamble, 100%. I'd love to see him there. I think, as a lot of people will agree with me, I do genuinely think George Gamble has what it takes to be a BTCC champion. I think if he stays in it for the long run, he is one of those stars of the future. Of course, putting the stars of the future up there, you've got Ash Sutton, you've got Jake Hill 100%, maybe Tom Ingram as well, you could put as a star of the future. Of course, now he's got a championship. And I also would put George Gamble, if he stays for the long run, as a star of the future. George Gamble has got what it takes to win championships in the BTCC. And they are sort of the main candidates, you could say. Those are the main candidates for BTCC, for the Team Dynamics seats this year. Of course, also assuming Gordon Shedden stays on, Gordon Shedden has not confirmed if he is staying with Team Dynamics, though we can imagine he will be. I do actually think he has got a contract anyway, so I won't be surprised if Gordon Shedden does stay on at Team Dynamics. So out of those candidates, who do I think will get that Team Dynamics seat? I think the most likely out of all the candidates I've listed, I think it's most likely going to be Henry Neal or George Gamble. I do see George Gamble, because there have been some rumours that George Gamble is going to bring over Car Gods as a sponsor, and it will be Team Halford's Car Gods, UASA, Honda, Team Dynamics Racing. They have so many team names over the past few years. So yeah, will it be George Gamble or will it be Henry Neal? Those are the two candidates that I'm siding with. I see it's being either one of those two. And honestly, I am going to say that it's going to be Henry Neal to partner Gordon Shedden for the 2023 British Touring Car Championship at Team Dynamics. Knowing my predictions, knowing the amount of predictions that I've got wrong so far, do not take my predictions as any sort of rumour, any whatever, because it's probably wrong. It most likely is. But yeah, those are my predictions. What are your predictions though, guys? Let me know down in the comments below. Who do you see at Team Dynamics this year? Will even Gordon Shedden be there? Will Henry Neal make his debut? Will George Gamble move on? Will Jason Plato come back for one more year? Or do you see it being someone else? Are we in for another shock move? Another rookie potentially making his debut? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you are new around here, be sure to like this video, share with your mates as well, because it of course does help my channel grow. And of course, hit that red subscribe button, because we are firmly on the road to 200 subscribers. I aim to have 150 subscribers by the start of the season in April, and then of course we hope to have 200 subscribers by the end of the season. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.